Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a look at an intriguing, mysterious topic finding renewed interest as of late: unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs. Unusual aerial phenomena have long been reported all throughout history, far before the modern concept of UFOs or UAPs. Ancient and Middle Age scholars and texts reference mysterious, strange objects in the sky, often interpreted through a lens of the prevailing cultural and religious beliefs of the time. From ancient through modern times, one thing has remained consistent. Humans have remained curious of the night sky, have reported seeing atypical objects or movement in the sky, and have attempted to understand or explain these peculiar observations. Our understanding of UFOs, or unidentified flying objects, and more recently, UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomena, has evolved dramatically from the start of the 20th century to today. The modern UFO era began in 1947 when pilot Kenneth Arnold reported seeing a string of 9 shiny objects the press coined flying saucers, a term that sparked global fascination and stuck for some time. The mid-20th century saw an increase of UFO sightings and content, as well as skepticism. In the scientific community, skepticism attempting to provide explanation of sightings, and the general public's belief of the sightings and the public's distrust in believing the government. In 1947, the U.S. Air Force started Project Sign, hypothesizing that UFOs were advanced foreign technology or possibly extraterrestrial in origin, and concluding with mixed findings. But what seemed to be an open and earnest curiosity for understanding quickly changed tone, and in 1949, Project Sign transitioned to Project Grudge, which dismissed sightings as natural phenomena or hoaxes. Then, in 1952, came the big one, Project Blue Book, aimed at determining the existence of UFOs and putting UFO-related data under scientific analysis. This study ran for nearly 2 decades, and by the mid-1960s, public concern continued to increase in relation to UFO sightings, as well as how and whether the government was investigating these events. In 1966, the House Armed Services Committee held congressional hearings over UFO sightings. Led by Congressman, later President Gerald Ford, the hearings brought together government officials, scientists, and military personnel to discuss the credibility of UFO sightings and the military's investigation into them. Occurring also in 1966 was the origin of a group informally called the Condon Committee, funded by the U.S. Air Force, as a comprehensive investigation into UFOs. The Condon Report was released in 1969 and found that 97% of UFO cases investigated and reviewed were explainable by known phenomena, and the remaining 3% had insufficient evidence to support a conclusion. Based on these findings, the report argued that further UFO research was unnecessary, that UFOs were not a national security threat, and the project was terminated. Over the next several decades, reports of UFO-related activity didn't stop, and national interest and curiosity grew. Still, any UFO investigations involving the government was informal, secretive, and overall fragmented. In 1977, science advisor Frank Press recommended increasing UFO-related analysis to President Carter. Carter himself had a personal interest due to his own UFO sighting, but nothing significant ever materialized. Reports made by military personnel and the public continued during the 1980s, but these investigations were conducted on a classified case-by-case basis by the U.S. Air Force. The government continued with more of the same in the 1990s, but a number of high-profile UFO sightings kept the topic alive, like the famous Phoenix Lights event in 1997, where thousands of people reported observing a series of lights over Arizona and Nevada. The 2000s were a quiet yet pivotal decade. There weren't any programs based on the analysis of UFOs, according to the government publicly, but behind the scenes, the Pentagon started working on a secret program to investigate UFOs known as the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or AATIP for short. AATIP was a secret U.S. government initiative that started in 2007 and adopted the general term and concept of UAP over the less accustomed term UFO. Driven by concerns from Senator Harry Reid, John Podesta, and others in the federal government, AATIP was a classified program. Its main focus was on military reports of UAPs and whether these sightings were foreign technology, misunderstood natural phenomena, or something else entirely. The program ended officially in 2012, and with former AATIP officials pushing for more transparency, was detailed in a New York Times article in 2017. The Pentagon acknowledged its existence but said little more until 2020. In 2020, they provided more detail to the public and officially released 3 videos of the military engaging or observing UAP. In 2021, the Pentagon officially created the UAP Task Force. Set up under the Defense Department, it centralized UAP investigations in order to determine if they posed a national security threat. Their report, released in 2021, analyzed sightings between 2004 and 21, concluding that while UAPs displayed flight characteristics that were beyond current known technology, they did not prove to be any evidence of extraterrestrial life. In 2022, the U.S. government continued its focus on UAPs, with the Department of Defense formally establishing the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, to replace the UAP Task Force. It was tasked with coordinating the investigation of UAPs across intelligence agencies and branches of the military. At the same time, Congress had consistently applied pressure on the Department of Defense and intelligence agencies. In recent years, the House has made calls for additional transparency and clarity on what is known as UAPs and more about them in general. In 2022, the House Intelligence Committee held a hearing on UAPs, its first congressional hearing on the subject in over 50 years. Then, in 2023, the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability held a hearing, its experts comprising of former military pilots and a former intelligence officer. The experts provided testimony of first-hand experiences with UAPs, with the former intelligence officer making an explosive claim that the government had retrieved or was in possession of non-human craft and, quote, non-human biologics. On November 13, 2024, U.S. Congress held a hearing titled Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena, Exposing the Truth, focusing on government transparency regarding UAPs. The biggest news from the hearing surrounded a phrase, Project Immaculate Constellation. Allegedly, a highly classified, unacknowledged special access program was established in 2017 to centralize data collection on UAPs. According to the whistleblower, the program consolidates intelligence gathered through advanced military sensors and systems, such as infrared, forward-looking infrared, and full-motion video, as well as reports from military personnel. The database reportedly includes detailed imagery and data on UAPs observed across various environments, from low Earth orbit to maritime and aviation settings. The whistleblower further claimed the program operates under the Office of the Secretary of Defense, but is shielded from oversight through legal loopholes. However, the Department of Defense publicly denied the existence of any program under this name and scope. Many have called for independent verification of these claims and of Immaculate Constellation. Skepticism of the project stems from the fact that it is an alleged highly classified program in the Pentagon with no publicly verifiable evidence of its existence, with claims about its function being based solely on whistleblower testimony, making it difficult to assess its legitimacy and without further actual proof. Critics point to the lack of official documentation and the potential for misinformation within such sensitive subjects. The secrecy and alleged measures to enforce it have led some observers to question whether this revelation is genuine or part of a broader effort to deliberately mislead the public. Meanwhile, since its inception, AARO has released several key reports, findings, and updates. Just before its creation, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, or ODNI, released an initial report on UAPs, which covered 144 UAP incidents between 2004 and 2021. AARO held its first public briefing in January 2023 and their first major annual report to Congress in May 2023 and described 510 sightings, a major jump from its prior ODNI report. In July 2023, an official gave further testimony to Congress, and in November 2023, a public update. The office held a press briefing in February 2024, which discussed high-profile UAP incidents in 23, then a fiscal year report of UAPs through June 1, 2024. In October and November 2024, the office released updates focused on providing additional details and findings on specific incidents, advancements in analysis, and an increase in focus on national security concerns. As we've discussed, humans have remained curious about things outside the norm, including strange and unusual phenomena, and strides have been made in our attempt to understand UFO and UAP-related occurrences. Our attempt to find answers has led to involvement by the government, often leading to secrecy and with it, skepticism and distrust. A recent establishment, All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, is the federal government's current attempt to provide information. While AARO claims to aim at gathering and analyzing UAP data across all domains, there's still a lot of pushback from Congress and from the public, and we remain largely, unsure. As we move forward, it's clear that balance will be key between transparency for the public and security for the nation and for the world. In the United States, only time will tell if the collaboration between Congress and the office known as AARO will lead to more clarity or more confusion when it comes to strange phenomena in our skies. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.